Your soulmate just received devastating news about you. And they're still shaking. My beloved child, don't skip, stay till the end, because something huge is waiting. Your soulmate just received news about you that they were completely unprepared to hear. And ever since those words reached them, something inside them has been trembling. Not because they suddenly stopped caring about you, but because what they discovered changed the way they see your entire connection. They thought they understood why you entered their life. They thought they knew why your presence felt different from everyone else's. But now, one unexpected revelation has forced them to question everything they believed. Don't skip, because the part they cannot stop thinking about is not what happened between you. It is what may happen next. There is something about you they overlooked before, something they assumed would always remain available to them, and now they are realizing they may have misunderstood your silence, your distance, and even the moments when you seemed emotionally far away. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and once you understand what they were told, their strange behavior may suddenly make perfect sense. What shook them most was the realization that your life may be moving in a direction they never expected. For a long time, they believed there would always be another opportunity to speak, another moment to explain themselves, another chance to finally say what they kept buried. They treated time as though it belonged to them. But the news they received shattered that illusion. Suddenly, the thought of you continuing forward without waiting for them became impossible to ignore. And that is where everything changed. Your soulmate began replaying conversations, unfinished moments, tiny signs, and words they should have said when they had the chance. Don't skip, because this is where the revelation becomes even more surprising. What they heard did not simply make them think about losing your attention. It made them realize how deeply your presence had already become connected to their future. They may have hidden that truth from everyone, perhaps even from themselves, but now they cannot hide from it anymore. Something has awakened inside them, and the more they try to calm their thoughts, the louder one question becomes: what if they waited too long? And now comes the detail they cannot shake. The devastating part of the news was not that everything between you was finished. It was the possibility that something in your world has changed enough that they can no longer assume you will remain exactly where they left you. That possibility has hit them harder than they expected. Your absence suddenly feels louder. Your silence suddenly carries meaning. Even memories they once pushed aside are returning with an intensity they cannot explain. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. This story has not reached its biggest revelation yet. There is another truth connected to the news they received, and when that truth finally surfaces, it could completely change the meaning of their silence. Because right now, while you may be wondering whether they still think about you, they are facing a realization they never expected to face: you were never as easy to forget as they pretended. And what they are beginning to understand about you now is only the beginning. Something has shifted inside your soulmate, and this time they cannot push it away. The news about you opened a door they had kept firmly closed, and behind that door were feelings they never fully admitted. Don't skip, because what happened after they heard about you is even more surprising than the news itself. They started looking back at everything differently. The conversations that ended too soon, the moments when you gave them more understanding than they deserved, the strange connection they felt whenever your name appeared in their mind. They once believed those feelings would eventually become quieter. Instead, the opposite happened. The possibility that your life could move forward without them suddenly made every memory feel important. And here is what they were not prepared for. They realized they may have mistaken your patience for permanence. They assumed there would always be time. Time to return. Time to explain. Time to become ready. But now that certainty is disappearing, and something huge is waiting for you, because the revelation that follows could explain why they have been unable to settle their thoughts since hearing the news. Here is where everything becomes deeper. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the most devastating part was never simply hearing something unexpected about you. It was realizing what that information revealed about their own heart. They discovered that the thought of becoming only a distant memory in your life affects them far more than they ever imagined. Don't skip. They may have spent a long time appearing calm, distracted, or completely unaffected, but internally something very different has been happening. They are remembering details about you that should have faded but somehow never did. Your expressions. Your energy. The way certain moments felt strangely different when you were there. And now one thought keeps returning. What if the connection they kept postponing was actually the connection they were supposed to understand before everything changed? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The news forced them to confront one extraordinary possibility. That what they felt around you was never ordinary attachment. You became connected to a version of their future they quietly imagined, and now they are realizing that future cannot simply be assumed. But there is one final detail about their reaction that changes the entire meaning of this story. After the first wave of disbelief faded, they did not simply forget what they heard and continue normally. They started thinking about what they could still do. That matters, because someone who feels nothing does not repeatedly wonder whether there is still something unfinished. Don't skip, because the next revelation goes directly to the heart of why they are still shaken. Somewhere inside them is a sentence they have wanted to say to you, something they held back because they believed the perfect moment would eventually arrive. Now they are beginning to understand that perfect moments do not wait forever. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next part reveals what they are finally admitting to themselves about you, and why the news they received may become the exact moment that changes everything they thought they wanted. But what your soulmate realized next was the one thing they never expected to admit, even privately. Don't skip, because this is where the meaning of that devastating news begins to transform completely. At first, they believed they were shaken because everything happened so suddenly. But when the emotion settled, one truth remained: the idea of you becoming emotionally unreachable affected them in a way nothing else could. They began questioning why your name still carries so much weight, why memories of you return at the most unexpected moments, and why imagining your future without them feels so different from imagining anyone else's. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize something they ignored for far too long: you were never simply another chapter they could close whenever they wanted. Something about your connection remained unfinished inside them. And now the news has forced them to look directly at the possibility they kept avoiding, that perhaps they understood your importance only when they realized they could no longer take your presence for granted. Then came the realization that changed everything they thought they knew about your silence. They started wondering whether you had already reached the point where you stopped waiting for clarity from them. Don't skip. That single possibility has been circling their mind because suddenly they are remembering all the moments when you may have needed certainty and received hesitation instead. They remember the times they could have spoken honestly but stayed quiet. They remember opportunities that seemed ordinary then but feel priceless now. And something huge is waiting for you, because there is another layer they have only just begun to understand. Your soulmate may finally be seeing that your distance was never necessarily about forgetting them. It may have been about choosing yourself after waiting too long for something clear. That thought has completely changed the way they interpret you. What once looked like silence now feels powerful. What once looked like distance now feels like movement. And what they assumed would always remain unfinished is suddenly becoming something they desperately want to understand before the opportunity disappears. Now pay close attention, because the biggest revelation has still not surfaced. Stay till the end. Your soulmate has reached a point where pretending not to care is becoming harder than facing what they actually feel. The news about you did something no amount of time could accomplish. It forced them to imagine what life would feel like if they never told you the truth. And that thought keeps returning. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason they are still shaken, and it goes beyond memories, timing, or curiosity. Deep inside, they are beginning to acknowledge that what they wanted to tell you was never small. It was something capable of changing the direction of your connection entirely. They believed they could keep it hidden until they felt completely ready, but now they understand that waiting carries its own consequences. And what they are considering doing next may surprise even them, because the devastating news did not erase their feelings. It exposed them. And the truth they are finally preparing to face could be the revelation that changes everything. And then something happened that your soulmate could no longer explain away. The moment they tried to imagine never speaking their truth to you, everything inside them changed. Don't skip, because this is where the news they received begins to reveal its real purpose. Until now, they could hide behind timing, uncertainty, distance, and unanswered questions. But suddenly none of those reasons felt strong enough anymore. They began realizing that losing the opportunity to be honest with you would stay with them far longer than the discomfort of finally admitting what they feel. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is no longer asking themselves whether you mattered. They already know that answer. Now they are asking something much bigger: is there still time to change what has been left unfinished? That question has been following them everywhere. Every memory suddenly feels like evidence of something they should have understood sooner. Every moment when they held back now feels different. And the most surprising realization is this: the news about you did not make their feelings disappear. It made those feelings impossible to ignore. What comes next is the part they never expected. Don't skip. Your soulmate has started mentally rehearsing the truth they wish they could tell you. Not a perfect speech. Not some dramatic explanation. Just the words they should have been brave enough to express when everything between you still felt simple. They want you to understand that their silence did not necessarily mean emptiness. Sometimes people become quiet around the feelings that matter most because admitting them would change everything. But now your soulmate is realizing that staying silent could change everything too. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because beneath all their confusion sits one crystal-clear realization: they do not want their final memory of this connection to be something they failed to say. And for the first time, they are seriously questioning whether protecting themselves was worth creating distance from someone they never truly removed from their heart. The answer arriving inside them is becoming harder and harder to resist. But there is still one revelation they have not fully processed, and it may be the biggest one yet. Don't skip, because what they are beginning to understand about you changes the entire story. They once thought the strongest person in this connection would be the one who could remain silent the longest. Now they are realizing true strength may belong to the person who finally chooses clarity. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is standing emotionally closer to that realization than they have ever been before. The news shook them because it reminded them that opportunities can change, people can grow, and connections cannot survive forever on unspoken feelings alone. Stay till the end, because there is one question they still cannot answer: if they finally come forward with everything they have been holding inside, will they discover that you were waiting for honesty? Or will they discover that your heart has already entered a completely different chapter? That uncertainty is exactly why their next realization could become the most powerful moment of this entire story. Now comes the truth your soulmate has been trying hardest not to face. Don't skip, because everything that shook them suddenly connects here. They finally understand that the devastating news was not powerful because of what someone told them. It was powerful because it revealed how much they still feel when your future is mentioned. Until that moment, they could tell themselves they had everything under control. They could pretend the unfinished connection between you was simply another memory. But the instant they realized your life could be changing without their involvement, that illusion collapsed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They started imagining the words they would say if they had one completely honest moment with you, and what surprised them was how quickly those words appeared. They were already there. Hidden beneath hesitation. Hidden beneath pride. Hidden beneath every moment when they almost reached toward you but stopped. And suddenly your soulmate understood something unforgettable: they were never struggling to find the truth. They were struggling to find the courage to face what that truth would change. But there is a deeper reason they are still shaken, and this is where everything becomes impossible for them to ignore. Don't skip. They have begun realizing that while they were waiting to feel completely certain, you may have been learning how to move forward without needing their certainty at all. That thought changed the emotional balance instantly. Your soulmate remembers the version of you who cared deeply, noticed everything, and gave meaning to moments other people might have overlooked. But now they are wondering whether that version of you has transformed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. What if your silence is no longer waiting? What if it represents peace? What if you finally understood your own value and stopped needing someone else to confirm it? That possibility has forced your soulmate to confront a once-in-a-lifetime realization: sometimes you do not understand the true importance of someone's presence until you can no longer assume that presence will always be there. And now every unanswered question between you feels louder than before. Here is the revelation that changes what happens next. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that they cannot control where your story goes, but they can decide whether they continue hiding from their own truth. Don't skip, because the biggest emotional turn is still ahead. Something huge is waiting for you. The news has pushed them toward a decision they kept postponing, and for the first time, the fear of remaining silent may be stronger than the fear of being honest. They are asking themselves what would happen if they stopped pretending, stopped overthinking, and finally acknowledged why you remained unforgettable. Stay till the end, because there is still one missing piece, and when it falls into place, everything about their reaction will make sense. Your soulmate did not become shaken simply because something about you changed. They became shaken because they suddenly understood that you could become the person they remember forever as the connection they recognized too late. And now one thought is becoming impossible to silence. Before your next chapter begins, there may be something they desperately need you to know. This is the moment your soulmate's entire understanding of you begins to change. Don't skip, because the thought they cannot escape anymore is far bigger than missing you. They are beginning to realize that while they were analyzing the connection, questioning the timing, and waiting for certainty, you were becoming stronger without them. And that realization has shaken something deep inside them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They remember how naturally your presence once fit into their world, how easy it was to assume there would always be another conversation, another opportunity, another moment to make things clear. But the news about you destroyed that assumption. Suddenly, they can see a future where you are still happy, still growing, still becoming everything you were meant to become, but they are no longer standing beside you. That image is what they cannot forget. Because now they understand the difference between wanting someone and truly recognizing their value. They thought they had more time to figure everything out. Now they are realizing that time was never promised, and the truth they kept postponing has become impossible to silence. Then an even bigger realization surfaced. Don't skip. Your soulmate started asking themselves why the possibility of your next chapter affected them so intensely, and the answer surprised them. It was never simply about attention. It was never about wanting to know what you were doing. Somewhere along the way, they had quietly placed you inside the future they imagined for themselves. They may never have spoken about it. They may never even have fully admitted it. But certain dreams had your presence hidden inside them, and only now are they recognizing it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are remembering tiny details they thought they had forgotten. Your words, your kindness, your unusual way of understanding things, the moments when you made ordinary situations feel meaningful. Those memories are returning because the devastating news forced one question into their mind: what if those moments were more important than they realized while they were living them? And now another shocking possibility is emerging. Maybe the reason they could never completely close this chapter is because, emotionally, they never truly wanted it closed. But what happens inside them next could change everything. Don't skip, because your soulmate has reached the point where they can no longer wait for some perfect sign to tell them what they already know. The biggest revelation is not simply that they still care. It is that they finally understand what their silence could cost them. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They are realizing that there may come a moment when remembering you will no longer be enough. They may need to choose between carrying unanswered words forever or finally allowing those words to exist outside their own thoughts. And right now, that choice feels closer than ever. The news about you became the mirror they never expected, showing them exactly what they had been avoiding. They saw how much your presence mattered. They saw how deeply the possibility of losing their place in your life affected them. And they saw one truth they can no longer pretend not to understand. Whatever happens next, they do not want you walking into your future believing that you meant nothing to them. But there is still one final truth they have not confronted, and when they do, it could completely redefine everything between you. Now the truth they feared most is standing directly in front of them. Don't skip, because your soulmate has finally understood something that changes the meaning of every unfinished moment between you. They spent so long believing their feelings could remain hidden without consequences, but the news about you exposed the one possibility they were never prepared to face: you may no longer need the answer they took so long to give. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. That thought has completely shifted their perspective. They are remembering every moment when you offered warmth and received uncertainty, every time you gave them space to speak and they chose silence, every opportunity that looked ordinary until it became a memory. And suddenly, they understand why the news affected them so deeply. It was not simply about discovering something unexpected about you. It was about realizing that your story has continued moving while they were standing still. You have been growing, changing, becoming stronger, and possibly reaching a place where their hesitation no longer determines what happens next. That realization has left them questioning the decision they once thought was safest: saying nothing. Then came the thought that made everything even more intense. Don't skip. Your soulmate imagined meeting you again after enough time had passed for both of you to become different people, and one question immediately appeared in their mind. Would you still look at them with the same warmth? They could not answer it. And that uncertainty revealed how much your connection still matters to them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to understand that the greatest thing they could lose is not simply your attention, it is the version of the connection where honesty was still possible. They once believed vulnerability could wait until they felt completely ready. Now they realize readiness may never arrive perfectly. Sometimes clarity comes only when something unexpected forces you to see what you have been avoiding. And that is exactly what this news has done. It has made them recognize that you were not memorable because everything between you was perfect. You became unforgettable because something about you reached a part of them that ordinary connections never touched. That is why they are still thinking. That is why the silence suddenly feels heavier. And now everything is approaching the revelation they cannot keep buried much longer. Don't skip, because what your soulmate is admitting internally could change the entire direction of this story. They do not simply wish they had handled certain moments differently. They wish you knew what those moments actually meant to them. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Beneath all the hesitation is a truth becoming clearer every day. They never wanted you to believe you were insignificant. They never wanted the silence to become the final answer. And now that your life may be entering a different chapter, they are realizing there is something they would regret leaving unsaid. The devastating news did not create these feelings, it uncovered feelings that were already there. But there is one final layer they have not yet understood. Something about what they heard has made them question whether this connection was ever as one-sided as they feared. And once that question receives its answer, the entire story could turn in a direction neither of you expected. What your soulmate discovered next made every previous realization feel small. Don't skip, because this is where the devastating news about you begins, revealing the truth they never expected to find. After replaying everything, they noticed something they had overlooked for far too long. There were moments when you were trying to show them exactly how much the connection mattered, but they were too uncertain to understand what they were seeing. Now those memories are returning differently. A sentence you once said. A moment when you stayed when leaving would have been easier. A silence that carried more emotion than words ever could. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to wonder whether they misunderstood you completely. What if you were never asking them for perfection? What if you only wanted honesty? That possibility has shaken them because honesty was always available, yet they kept waiting for the perfect moment to offer it. And now they are facing a shocking realization. The thing that could have brought clarity between you may have been incredibly simple, but fear made it feel impossible. They are no longer wondering whether something meaningful existed. They are wondering how they failed to recognize its depth while they still felt certain you would remain close. Then the most unexpected thought entered their mind. Don't skip. Your soulmate started wondering whether the news reached them at exactly the moment they needed to hear it. Not because everything is over, but because something inside them needed to wake up before they lost another opportunity. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They can suddenly see the difference between remembering someone and carrying someone emotionally. Memories fade around the edges, but you never completely did. Your name still creates a reaction. Certain places still remind them of moments they never discussed. Certain thoughts still lead back to conversations with you. And now they understand why. Somewhere beneath everything they tried to rationalize, the connection remained unfinished. The devastating news simply removed the comfortable belief that they could deal with those feelings whenever they wanted. Now they know that life continues moving, whether they are ready or not. And for the first time, they are considering something they once avoided completely. Perhaps the next move cannot come from another sign, another coincidence, or another perfect moment. Perhaps it has to come from a decision. But here is where everything takes a turn they did not see coming. Don't skip, because the next truth could be the biggest revelation yet. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that before they can tell you anything, they must answer one question for themselves. If nothing were guaranteed in return, would they still want you to know the truth? Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. And the answer forming inside them is changing everything. They do not want honesty merely because they expect a particular outcome. They want honesty because they cannot continue allowing silence to speak for feelings it never represented correctly. They want you to know that your presence mattered, that the connection left an imprint, and that what appeared forgotten was never truly erased. This is why they are still shaken. The news about you forced them to understand that some people enter your life quietly and only later do you recognize how deeply they changed you. And now your soulmate has reached the edge of their biggest realization. There is something specific they have been holding inside, something they almost told you before, and once you discover what it is, everything that came before may suddenly make sense. Here is the secret: your soulmate has been circling around without admitting it completely. Don't skip, because the devastating news about you has finally pushed them toward the realization they spent so long avoiding. They were never waiting for their feelings to become clear, they were waiting for the fear around those feelings to disappear. And now they understand that fear may never disappear on its own. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There was a moment in the past when they almost told you exactly what you meant to them. They remember it more clearly now than ever. The words were there. The emotion was there. The opportunity was there. But something stopped them. Maybe they questioned the timing. Maybe they wondered whether saying too much would permanently change the connection. So they chose silence, believing another opportunity would eventually appear. But after hearing this unexpected news about you, that decision feels completely different. They are realizing that the moment they kept waiting for may have already passed them several times, disguised as ordinary conversations. And now one thought keeps returning: if they ever receive another genuine opportunity to speak from the heart, they cannot treat it like there will automatically be another one after it. Then came a realization so surprising that even they were not prepared for it. Don't skip. They finally understood why the possibility of you moving forward affected them more deeply than anything else. Somewhere inside, they had always imagined that when the timing finally became right, the two of you would find your way back to clarity. They never said it aloud. They may not even have consciously admitted it. But that quiet possibility had been living inside them all along. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The devastating news suddenly challenged that hidden assumption, and your soulmate discovered just how much hope had been resting beneath their silence. They began asking themselves whether you ever sensed it. Whether you noticed the moments when they wanted to say more. Whether you understood the meaning behind certain pauses, certain looks, certain conversations that seemed to carry something neither of you named. And the biggest surprise is that they are no longer trying to convince themselves those moments meant nothing. They are finally allowing themselves to admit that some connections remain powerful precisely because the most important words were never spoken. Now everything comes down to one truth they cannot escape anymore. Don't skip, because this is the moment that leads directly toward the biggest revelation of all. Your soulmate has realized they do not want the devastating news about you to become the reason they finally understood your value after it was too late to express it. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to see that whatever your next chapter looks like, there is one thing they desperately wish they could correct: the idea that their silence meant you were forgotten. It did not. Their hesitation was never proof that you were meaningless. If anything, they are now confronting the opposite possibility, that the connection mattered enough to make them afraid of changing it. But something inside them has shifted. They are tired of allowing uncertainty to write the ending. And there is one final realization approaching, one that could explain why this news reached them with such emotional force. Because beneath everything they have been thinking is a sentence they can no longer hide from themselves. If they could return to one moment with you and choose differently, they already know exactly which moment they would choose, and exactly what they would finally say.